Stroud that we already hold. Everybody here from Stroud? There's usually lots of people here from Stroud.
We need all of the graphs.
Sorry about Forest Green Rovers today, it was another draw. My second team, it's alright. But we have battles ahead. To win, to gain Plymouth Moorview, to gain in Cornwall, to gain in Swindon, to gain in Bristol, and to gain in Gloucester. And I'm absolutely determined that our party... There you go. There you go. I go to Bournemouth to arrange a members' mobilisation event, and a big room is booked in a big hotel, and the curtains are drawn, and a big crowd outside can't see. So what do? We draw the curtains back and open the windows, and in they come. Isn't that the way to do things? Open up to others to come in. And so we have huge campaigns ahead of us to win all across the Southwest. And the issues the Southwest faces are massive. You've got high frontier end technology industry in Bristol. You've got Airbus, you've got Rolls-Royce, and you've got all of that wonderful high-skilled work that's there. You've got problems over investment in Swindon with Honda going and BMW being uncertain. And then across the further part of the Southwest, you've got an interesting statistic. It's the area of the UK with the highest level of employment of any English economic area. And it's an area of the lowest wages all across the UK, which leads me to believe that obviously people are being paid low wages, but they're probably also trying to get by on temporary, part-time and 0 hours contract work. It's the quality of the work that's available, particularly in Devon and Cornwall, that has to be addressed. And it is about infrastructure investment. It is about the upgrading of the railway line all the way to the far southwest, so that we don't have this huge, fantastic, rapid train that gets you to Exeter, and then you get slower and slower, then after you're stopping at every lamppost until you finally reach Penzance. It's a wonderful line and wonderful to do, but we have to have something of better quality than that. Cornwall was the birthplace in many ways of the Industrial Revolution, provided the skills and the jobs of the area, the mining, the steam engines, and so much else. But it is now a place that is dependent in part on tourism, in part on agriculture, in part on education and students. But the potential for work in naval work in Plymouth and shipyard work in Falmouth is absolutely huge. And so I really do applaud and admire the work the Labour Party has done in Cornwall in collecting all the ideas together across the county on education, on health, on housing and an industrial transformation. And I'm looking forward to being in Truro in a couple of weeks' time to support voter registration work and to be in Falmouth for the next Labour grassroots event that we're holding there in October, unless an election has been called by then, in which case it will be rolled into the election campaign. So we have huge campaigning opportunities and work ahead of us. Our party has to be represented in every part of the country. There are no no-go areas for Labour. The levels of housing stress, of education stress, of underfunding of police and underfunding of public services in every part of the region are absolutely huge. And just because you happen to live in what is a beautiful area, and it is a stunningly beautiful area of the country, it doesn't mean that there isn't poverty behind the beauty of those villages and those hedges that are there. And so a Labour government will be investing, yes, in infrastructure. A Labour government will have a regional transformation fund that will invest in every part of the country, and the Labour government will restore bus services to every part of the country. Because bus services give that connectivity to more remote places and villages, and we will also be upgrading broadband over the whole country, because if you're to get that economic sustainability in small rural communities, you've got to have transport and you've got to have computer links, and you've also got to have the transport there So agriculture can also develop more into the development of the product rather than just the primary product leaving the farm and going somewhere else, which is traditionally what Devon and Cornwall always did. So it is transformation. Now that transformation is not going to happen if it's left to a national investment bank in Whitehall or wherever else John McDonnell decides to put it. Now, I obviously totally support the principle behind the National Investment Bank and the 500 billion we're putting in, but it's got to be accompanied by regional investment banks, regional transformation funds, with local decision-making, local determination, with a combination of local authorities, of unions, employers, and local community putting together their proposals to enhance and improve the economy so we get that strength of economic development all across the region. And I am absolutely determined that we shall achieve that. This conference faces, yes, big issues, but also faces the issues that we are more than prepared to take on. I understand Brexit can be seen as very divisive. I remember campaigning on Perranporth Beach in the referendum in 2016 and talking to those wonderful people who were part of Surfers Against Sewage and the work that they did to improve the quality of beaches all along Cornwall. Community action at its very best. But people in Cornwall and Devon overwhelmingly voted to leave. Yet, they didn't vote to lose jobs, they didn't vote for deregulation, they didn't vote for a cliff-edge Brexit. So my priority is to stop a cliff-edge Brexit. Hence, I worked with the other opposition parties to introduce legislation to prevent Boris Johnson taking us over a cliff edge and forcing him to come. And we will do that as soon as Parliament is restored, either by the state opening of Parliament in October or by decision of the Supreme Court that will force him to reopen Parliament so we can once again put him under some scrutiny. But Boris Johnson has a remarkable record as Prime Minister. He's been Prime Minister since the end of July, which is sort of about 7 weeks ago. He's had 6 parliamentary votes, he's lost all of them. He had a majority of 1, he's turned it into a minority of 40. That is so much in only 6 weeks. It can only get worse for Boris Johnson. Let's make sure it does, okay? It's also bringing people and communities together. Bringing people and communities together. Because however you voted in the referendum, if you need a house, if you need a job, if your community is suffering from austerity, you need all of those things. You do not need a cliff edge, you do not need a sweetheart trade deal with the USA. You need either a trade arrangement with the EU or membership of the EU, and this party will make sure that is the choice the British people get and what I will deliver as part of a Labour government in office. The last thing I'd say is this. On Friday, I went to be educated. I went to my town hall. I cycled down there, got outside the town hall, and hundreds of primary school students came along. And they talked to me about their worries, their concerns for the air quality where they live alongside major roads, for the planet as a whole, and for the sustainability of our lives and food supply. Wonderful. The understanding, the ability and the imagination they had. And later I went to an even bigger event outside Parliament. The Tories said these children should be in school. I said, well actually, they took a bit of time off school to help the rest of us. They came out of school to educate us. On that so I think it is important that we understand the climate emergency, which I propose as a motion to Parliament on May Day, is real, it's there, it is happening. The Amazon burns, Angola burns, Congo burns, the carbon sink of those forests is being destroyed. We all suffer. And our own environment is damaged by over-intensive agriculture, as well as air quality and all the other issues. We can look at this from a point of view of horror, quick, get out of the way, go and live somewhere clean. That's not an option for everybody, only those that can afford to move away. Or we challenge it in a different way. We challenge it by investment, we challenge it by a green industrial revolution, Green New Deal as it's called in the USA, and we invest in people for the future. And I'm very proud of the environmental campaigning work that's been done in all counties all across the southwest, and that whole principle that's behind it. And I'm absolutely delighted that the first marine national park will be in Plymouth Sound, which will be there to protect 1,000 species that are there in Plymouth Sound, but also ensure that you do have shipping, yes, going on now, and you have sustainable fishing going on. Let's look at the environment to work with rather than destroy, and our planet to work with rather than destroy, and a Labour government working with other countries, signing up with enthusiasm to the Paris Climate Change Agreement and strengthen them around the world. A Labour government leading on environment, on human rights and sustainability, on a humanitarian approach to refugees. A Labour government investing in every part of this country. A Labour government taking people forward and giving them the confidence for the future. That is the challenge before us. The mainstream media may not be an enormous help at the present time. I've noticed that some of their reporting is slightly negative about proceedings, but that's okay, they've all got jobs to do. I understand that. We've got two things. We've got social media and we've got ourselves. We've got our community. I will be with you. The team will be with you. And we'll get a Labour government. Thank you.